Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to go over some of the common errors that you may get on your sewing machine. Do you ever just, one day it's just sewing beautifully and then a few minutes later, suddenly it's not sewing very nice at all? So I'm going to go over some of the common mistakes that individuals do when they're using their machine and where you can go to get quick information on how to correct it. The moment you have problems, the first thing you should do is go to your user's guide before you pack up your machine and take it to a repair site. It'll save you a lot of money. So there's a section, usually it's in the back of your book, that has a lot of those problems answered for you. Usually at the very back of the book, the last few pages, there's a section called troubleshooting, and it has some of the most common computer areas listed there. You may get an error message on your little computer screen, or it may not necessarily give you an error message. So just read down here, and more than likely, you're going to find the answer to your problem. So I'm going to go over a couple of some of the most common mistakes people make. One of the most common errors is that your thread, your upper thread, is not in correctly. I've often been sewing and taken my fabric out, and then I'll put some other fabric right back in, and suddenly it doesn't stitch right. And I will just rethread it, and suddenly the problem goes away. So if you're new to using a sewing machine, in the very front of the user's manual is usually a diagram of how to thread your machine. Also, on many sewing machines, you'll see little arrows. Now these you can't see very well because they're white, but they're little bumps on here. And it tells you the direction where to put it. So all machines are threaded just slightly different from others, but they're all pretty closely the same. So on my Viking here, make sure when you put your spool of thread in that you put this little cap on. This will prevent the thread from getting caught on this little piece on the top of your thread spool. There's this little thing that's slit there, and sometimes the thread catches on it. So if you put this cap on and make sure it's a little bigger than the spool, that part won't happen. So on this one, mine comes here. When I look at the book, the diagram shows me then to go down underneath there, then to come up over, and you're going to go straight down, and then underneath, and up, and then around this way. There's a little piece up here that it will catch the thread. Then you go down, and then underneath here, near the needle, is a little hook that you're going to wrap the thread around. This little hook is usually up near the top of the needle area, so you would just go ahead and wrap it around that. Yours might look a little different. Then I usually like to lower the presser foot to get the presser foot out of the way so that it's easier to thread the needle. Also, make sure you have a nice clean cut at the end of your thread. I like to use a pair of tweezers to grab the end of the thread, and when you thread your needle, it makes it so much easier. It just goes right in. Another very common mistake is your bobbin is not inserted correctly. Number one, not all bobbins styles fit every machine. Most manufacturers have their own bobbin, and some of them come with a marking on one side of the bobbin to indicate that that is to be face up, but not all of them do that. My Viking does that, but my Baby Lock doesn't. So it's really important to make sure that thread is fed around the bobbin area correctly. So to check the bobbin, you want to just slide the little cover off. Most of them slide off, and you pull it back. Now in there I can see that mine is threaded correctly, but sometimes it just comes undone. It's not correct. So I'm just going to pop this out, and I'm going to show you the way most of your bobbin thread goes. So the thread is coming out on my left side. So that's where you want it. If it's on the right side, you don't want it like that. But always check your user's manual, just in case it's different. So I'm just going to slide it back in like that. And then there's a little area right down here where you want the thread to grasp on it. So I just usually will pull it like that, and it's caught on it. And then I'm going to lift it up this way, and there's another little hook right there to wrap it around. Then I'm going to come down here one more time and grab it on this one, and that's where the cutter is. So I'm just going to pull on it, and now just insert your cover. Now before you start stitching on your project, take a scrap piece of fabric and test to make sure that it is correct. Another really big error that people make is they don't clean their machine. So this is really important because it could wind up costing you a lot more money in the end. For instance, one of my really high-end machines, I got a little negligent with it and wasn't cleaning it as often as I should. And now, after trying to clean it, I have to take it to the repair shop. So that's what spurred me on to making this video, is I want to save you money. So after you've been sewing all day, you really need to clean your machine because there's thread dust, fabric dust that collects down there and it gunks everything up. So I'm going to go over just a simple little routine that you should follow whenever you've been sewing all day. This is what you need to do. So you need to first take off the bobbin cap and remove the bobbin. Then your throat plate is real easy to remove. Usually your machine comes with a little screwdriver. You just take it and pop it off. And pull it out gently. And so now you're looking at all this and it looks really scary, but it's not. So now you take this little part, remember, refer to your user's manual, because my Viking is a little different than my baby lock. So now I've taken that off, and here is my bobbin case. So you want to take a little brush and brush the inside and all around the outside of your bobbin case right here. Set that aside. Clean this off if you need to. And then, now mine's not too bad. It doesn't have too much dust in there. There's a little bit of dust. See, you can see that. If you let that accumulate, it just gets wrapped around everything. So you want to gently pull it off. Sometimes if I see a big clump of it around my thread cutter, which is right here, I don't know if my camera can see it, there will be some caught in there too. Your thread cutter gets really dirty. So you want to clean all the way around and get everything out. There's even some here that I see, and over here. It goes all over the inside of the machine. Now, as far as the air cans that you can use to spray the inside of your machine, I've heard good and bad. Some repair people say, please don't use those, because all you're doing is blowing the dust farther down in the machine. So do this first, clean it, rethread everything, close it all back up, and do a test stitch on scrap fabric to see if everything is now stitching normal. One other thing you need to do is once a year, take your machine in for just general maintenance. I don't know exactly how much it is per machine. It probably varies from state to state, city to city, but it could cost you $75 maybe to $100 every time you take it in. But it is worth it to get it properly cleaned, especially if your cleaning hasn't worked. Then of course something else is wrong. For instance, when I was cleaning my baby lock, as I was cleaning it, it was so dirty that a little felt piece fell off of one of the pieces inside down at the bottom here. And I went to do a sample stitch and the entire machine just froze instantly. And I knew I was in big trouble. So, clean your machine. I hope this sewing tip was helpful to you. If you are having any problems with your machine, and you just can't seem to solve it, I can't stress it enough. Take it to a repair place. Don't try to fix it yourself because you just might make things worse. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button. Don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Don't forget to click on the bell. I'm Cheryl, and this is a lot of mayonnaise. See you next time, and happy sewing!